Start talking about sound devices today. Sound devices, one of the big things we focus on in English too, and there are a lot of sound devices. So let's go ahead and start with sound devices. Specifically, are items that appeal to the ear. They're figurative language that appeal to our ears. Poetry, as you already know, is kind of meant to be heard out loud as well as read, and we definitely get that from music, right? That music is a form of poetry, especially lyrical music, and that we are hearing certain things, and how it affects our ears, right? Um, so there are a lot of terms that fall into sound devices: rhyme, any kind of rhyme scheme, onomatopoeia, alliteration, and then we talked about imagery yesterday, as sometimes being something that affects us. So let's go ahead and talk about rhyme scheme. Remember, rhyme scheme is this pattern. The pattern is based off of the last sound in each line, and the rhyme is that last sound being repeated. Um, either in the next line or sometimes in there's a pattern where we go like first sound, second sound, first sound, second sound. Um, if you recall, we're going to label those, right? So we're going to label the first sound we hear A, the second sound we hear is going to be B, and then so on. And then we look at the pattern. So a typical pattern might be A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and in a sonnet, we would end that with G, G. So that's our basic rhyme scheme. Expect that we already know that. Um, and again, if you need to see that kind of spelled out for you, blush and hush rhyme, so they're both A sounds. Sound and bound both rhyme, so they're B sounds, right? So we are going to be looking at a poem that has those. You're going to have to go through and mark those sounds, and what's the actual construct, what's the pattern when we see that at the end. What is that doing for us, right? So unlike a free verse poetry that doesn't have that, one thing that I think we immediately understand is it's difficult to do that, right? It's not easy to rhyme. And so we appreciate there's a kind of talent in it, right? But also it appeals to our ears. Like I said, with sound devices, we want to appeal to the ears. The other term we're going to see in this poem is alliteration. And so alliteration is the beginning sound. So it's kind of the opposite of rhyme scheme, where we get the end sound being repeated. Here we're going to get the beginning sound being repeated, which is actually much easier to do in English. English is set up to do these beginning sounds much more than the end sounds. So this is an easier thing to do. Um, and alliteration can be just two sounds kind of paired together. I always like to think that it should be more than that. It's kind of easy to accidentally be alliterative. It's harder to really do it on purpose. So Sally sells, that's alliteration. But Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Now you're definitely being alliterative. There's no way that you're faking that. Excuse me. Um, so, like I said, rhyme scheme, alliteration, two of the things that we're really going to hit in our lesson today.